Yo, what is going on, y'all? It is your boy AT from AT's Barstool. Today we are back here on another video. We are here on episode 27 of AT's Barstool. If you guys are new to this channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Today we're going to be doing not one but two recaps. We're going to be doing this week 6 recap and the week 7 recap since I missed it. I'm sorry, y'all, and don't be making any corny jokes or whatever about that. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, though, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And let's just get into today's video as we are going to start off with the Concord versus McCain game in week 6 of last week, where Concord came from behind and won 16-13 against the McCain Highlanders, where Concord went on to move on to 6-0 before losing to Newark High School the next week, which we will talk about later on. And for McCain, they went on to win another game against AI after that loss. But it was a good game for Concord. Defensively, they held them to zero points when they was down 13-0 before the half, and they just fought back. It was a great game. Culver played really well. They also had a punt return touchdown and a safety to pretty much seal the game. And McCain Von Brooks, he had not one but two rushing touchdowns, had an amazing game, ran for like 90 plus yards in that game. It was a good game for him. But all in all, McCain is now 3-5 on the year and is looking to play against Dickinson in their homecoming, or not in their homecoming, but Dickinson's homecoming game. As for Concord, they're going to be going on and they will be playing against St. Elizabeth on their homecoming. And that's going to be a good game. But all in all, Concord, they're just doing really well. They're 6-1. And they're definitely going to be in the playoffs. This is a team to look out for going into playoff time, as if they can win their next 3 games, they can finish 9-1, the best record they had in a minute. And yeah, Concord High School, they looking to come back to 2A in a couple years from now. So yeah, that's really all I gotta say. And the next game that we are going to be talking about in week 6 is the Smyrna versus Cape Henlopen. We're going to go downstate at Smyrna High School. As Smyrna won 42-13. Both teams are really good. Jameson Tingle had a really good game as he threw for 3 touchdown passes in that game. And for Smyrna, Kamaj Carney, he ran the ball once, or not ran the ball once, but he scored 1 touchdown. And Phoenix Hernandez, he ended up scoring 3 receiving touchdowns to help his team win the game in a 42-13 win. Smyrna High School, I told y'all, when they started off 1-3, 1-4, I was not mad and I was not shocked that they was going to bounce back from this, as now Smyrna is currently sitting at 3-4 on a 2-game win streak, as they barely just beat Caesar Ronnie, which was a scare game. And their next 3 games after that is going to be St. George's, Dover, and Sussex Central. That's going to be pretty easy games outside from the Central game. St. George's is going to be a defensive battle, I feel like. And then Dover, that should be a blowout win, as Dover hasn't been all that great this year. All in all, though, Smyrna looks like they're going to be in the right place. I think they are going to go 6-4, like I said before, and win the next 3 games on their schedule. And Smyrna, I'm telling you, they had a really tough schedule. They are bouncing back really well. And one more win, they're going to be above 500. Or not above 500. They're going to be at 500. So, yeah. But nothing much. It was just good game overall. Defensively, I feel like they could have did better despite forcing 2 turnovers in that game to Cape Henlopen's 1. I do think Smyrna did really well on the offensive side. The defensive side, giving up 34 to a Cape Henlopen team with one of the best quarterbacks in the state. I wouldn't even be shocked, but hey, the defense just got to step up, and it is what it is. Now the next game that I'm gonna go to is the Salesianum Sows. The Salesianum Sows, we are gonna stay in 3A, as they absolutely destroyed Hodson. This was a game I was expecting a blowout like this. It was 47-0. Hodson got shut out. There's nothing much to do when you're playing against a Sally's team with multiple guys that are going to go Division 1. You have like receivers, DBs, what else? Running backs, D linemen, just everybody that's playing at the college level next year or the next couple years. D2, D3, D1, JUCO. I mean, there's nothing much you could do. So I'm not surprised about this result. Hodgson just ain't do well offensively and defensively. Quarterback went down. Other quarterback came in, threw picks, and it is what it is. As this Hodgson team, I mean, they're not all that great. And for Sally's, this is just another win. Another day in the office for Sally's. Now, the next game that I want to talk about is Apple Quinnipiac versus Caravel. Caravel lost their first game in over 2 years. The last time they lost a game was in the state championship back in 2022 against Wilmington Friends. Yeah, that 30-game win streak is officially over. Desai Drummond played a really good game as he threw 2 touchdown passes, one to Josiah Rogers early in the game, and then one to Francis Drummond later on. They could have had over 20 points, could have had 28 in my opinion, but the Hail Mary by the end of the second quarter that was pitched back to Dom after Josiah caught it, that got called back. I don't know why. But yeah, it was a good game. I think defensively it was just a great game. Joshua Roy, he solidified himself as a really good running back, and I think this was a game where he solidified himself as a top 5 running back in the state. He had 2 rushing touchdowns against the Apple Quartermain defense, who has lots of really good players, Leighton, Van Barnett, and Edge, the 2 brothers, and also having Temple commit Yalik Carter, and so on. This team was really good defensively, and the fact that Joshua Roy coming in or actually playing against a tough 3A team in Apple Quinnipiac, who's shown year in, year out that they've had a really good defense and just had a really good team overall with multiple guys going Division 1, Division 2, D3, if not lower. Yeah, it was just one of those days for him. Apple just couldn't get it done. I mean, not Apple. Caravel just couldn't get it done. Isaac Chikora, the Penn State commit, he had a couple sacks and a forced fumble in that game, making the Gatorade Player of the Year. Feel that pressure and just getting to him. But all in all, Caravel is still a really good team. I do think they are a top 4, if not top 5 team. In Apple, they are a top 3 team, and that was a great bounce back win, or not bounce back win, but that's a great win. And now Apple is on a win, or not on a win streak, but they're in the right place at the right time as they're 5-2 on the year. They did just take a loss to Sally's, which we'll talk about later on. But all in all, really good game, really good game for them. And the next game I want to talk about here is Newark Yellow Jackets versus the Wilmington Charter Force. This was one of the 2 games I was supposed to go to last week. If you guys don't know, I was supposed to go to Apple versus Caravel and do interviews, and then come down to Newark High School and do interviews and record a game against Wilmington Charter. But their AD, once again, didn't respond. And yeah, but Newark did win, though, 12-0 in this game. It was just a good defensive game. Newark Charter's now 5-2 on the year because they also just took down undefeated Concord earlier this week. And yeah, it was just good. Their defense looked good. They're 5-2. Only 2 losses being to Brandywine in a blowout and losing to Newark Charter, who has been really impressive and I think should be talked about a lot more, despite being the new team in 1A. This team just really good defensively. They have held their opponents to less than 7, not less than 7, at least 7 points or less in the last 5 games. Yes, they allowed 7 points against Newark Charter, allowed 6 against Tatnall, which was really surprising. I thought that was going to be a good game and close. Delcastle held them to 0. Wilmington Charter held them to 0. Concord High School held them to 7. They have been on a tear. The only team they have given up 20 plus to so far is Brandywine High School. In Brandywine High School, we already know they have 2 guys that are playing division, or not playing, but they're going to play Division 1 or Division 2 football. And the rest of that team is also really good too. All in all, there's nothing much to say about this Newark team, but they're just amazing. The defense, really good. Offense, they've been good, putting up at least 20 a game. It's a good recipe. They're one of the teams I think is going to be contending or competing for a state championship in 1A this year in Delaware, outside of Brandywine High School. So we gonna see. We gonna see though. Now another game. We're not going to just sit here and just not forget not one game, but a 1A team that we're not just going to sit here and act like they're non-existent. Brandywine High School. Brandywine High School's been really good. They took down St. E's in a 20-12 victory where Jasir Green, that man had a game. He had a rushing touchdown and a sack to seal the game. Peyton Taylor had a good game as usual. And all in all, they was just good. St. E's couldn't really respond. Well, they did respond. They did score 12, but they didn't score in the second half at all, as all the points were scored in the first 2 quarters of the game, and after that, no. It was just a defensive battle and see who is going to last longer and win this game. And it was Brandywine. Brandywine played tough. They played with effort, stopped the St. E's wing T offense, and did whatever they wanted pretty much. On the defensive side, there ain't much to say about it though. And they just also took down Dickinson 2 in a really embarrassing 54-0. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that game though for myself. But hey, it is what it is. They are 5-2, just like Newark High School. I already said, just like Newark High School, they are going to be competing for a state championship, in my opinion. Them, Concord High School, and Newark High School are the 3 teams I honestly think is going to be in the state semifinals, 100%. 100% though. Brandywine's been dominant. They have had multiple surprising wins, such as taking down DMA and taking down Mount Pleasant. Actually, that's not even a shocking win, but it is shocking that it was the fact. It's shocking that it was a blowout win. Yes, over Mount, and then losing to Howard in Laurel, which is no surprise. But yeah, this team is going to be competing though. They're going to be competing in 1A for state title. Don't be surprised. You see them up there. And now going on to week 7. That's it for week 6. Week 7. We already talked about Sally's and Apple a little bit. How Sally's killed them. It was 49-0. I thought this game was going to be a lot better than it was last year, where Sally's won 21-7. But the amount of star power Sally's has on both sides of the ball, adding on star power, as they've had a couple guys who has been really good and just transferred there not too long ago, in Jamar Taylor and Jasir. They've been good. They have been good. Sally's has dominated. They shut down Jasir Rogers and Desai Drummond in that Apple couldn't make offense, holding them to 0. And overall, it was just a good game. Just a good game for Sally's. Running the ball, special teams getting a punt return, and a fumble return touchdown to start the game off, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, also getting a pick 6, just all that. It was mainly the run game, I say, but the defense, special teams, balling out. It was a really good game. Ain't much to say about it. And yeah, now let's talk about Middletown versus Caravel. Let's talk about that game. That was a 28-7 victory, and Middletown playing a really good defensive game, holding Caravel to 7 points. Caravel's now on a 2-game losing streak, and Middletown just balled out on the offensive side of the ball, and defensively, they shut down Caravel, like I said, holding them to only 7. And I told y'all it was going to be a brutal last couple games for Caravel, as they were going to be playing Middletown, Appo, Sally's, and stuff. Yeah, and for Middletown, it's going to be tough for them too, as they are going to go into their toughest game, playing against Salesianum at homecoming, at Sally's homecoming to be exact. And then they're going to be playing Hodson at Caravel, and then play Appoquinimink High School down in Middletown. Those are going to be some tough games. I think the Hodson one is going to be pretty easy. Hodson hasn't been that great. But Sally's and Appo is going to be really tough. And Middletown is currently sitting at 4-3. They might actually sit at 5-5 though. That's not crazy to say. 5-5, 6-4. Haven't seen Middletown have this bad of a record in a while. But Middletown plays a really tough schedule. And I still think Middletown is one of the best teams in the state. They're good top to bottom, just like Salesianum is. has a bunch of nationally ranked players that's going to be playing Division I football at not just the Conference USA or MAC. They're going to be playing in like the Big Ten, Pac-12, other conferences, other pretty big conferences, ACC mainly. I think that's where most of the guys will be going to. Yeah, you're going to see them in big conferences in the next year or two. But all in all, they ain't much the same. It was another blowout victory for Middletown, as Middletown is 4-3 on a 3-4 game win streak. My bad. And we are actually going to go down to 2A, where we are going to be talking about DMA. Yes, we will be talking about DMA High School versus Polytech. Yes, this was a game where nothing much happened. Isaiah Muhammad ran for a touchdown. Chris Kettler had a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown. It was 21-3. Final score. Polytech, they couldn't do nothing on offense. Helam Edwards didn't do much as he threw a pick, and also just DMA just railed him. 21-3, as I'm going to keep saying. Game was down at Polytech, and I told you Polytech's next 5 games is not going to treat him right. And DMA's next 3 games should be pretty easy outside of Red Lion. Milford, Odessa, those are easy games, and Red Lion is going to be their tough game, and I think that's going to be their final loss before they turn it up a notch and win their next 2 games and possibly go to the playoffs. All in all, DMA's been well, and ain't much to say. Their defense was just amazing, and yeah. In the next game we're going to be talking about is Conrad's pink out game against St. Elizabeth. They was on a 2-game win streak, taking down Glasgow and Christiana before losing the St. East. I definitely did say Conrad was going to be a top 2 team going into this year in 1A, but I don't know. They're 3-4. They can win. There are some games that they could win, as they can probably beat Newark, can beat Delcastle and Wilmington Charter. They should be a playoff team again. Wasn't much that happened. Cole Andrews played a really good game for St. E's. And Luca Schmidt had 17 carries for 84 yards. Tommy McGorry, he did not play all that well, as he went 3 for 11 passing, only 42 yards and a pick. Not that good, but he did run for 114 yards and ran for 2 touchdowns, also having an interception, and he had about 19 carries and 114 yards. TJ Clark on Conrad had 11 tackles, including 2 TFLs, and Charlie Shuttle had 10 tackles, as he had 1 carry for 4 yards. It was a good game, though. It was a good game for St. E's. Cole Andrews threw a couple touchdown passes and a couple rushing touchdowns from some of the guys on St. E's. And all in all, St. E's really turned it up the notch in the 4th quarter. They scored 14, shut out Conrad the whole second half, make it 30-14. St. E's won that game, and now St. E's will be moving on to 5-2. Once again, another team that's probably going to the playoffs. They're playing Concord next week, and they're going to have 2 pretty easy games in AI and McCain. So they are going to be a 7-3, in my opinion, by the end of the season. It's been a good year for St. E's. Have they shocked me? Not really. Outside from the Tower Hill win, not really. I was expecting all these wins. Conrad, I was expecting that game to be a win, but closer. But all in all, Cole Andrews, he's done led this team and has been having an all-state type of season. I would not be surprised if he's first-team all-state as a quarterback. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in all of 1A this year. It's just a fact. But yeah, that's really it. The next game we're going to be talking about here is Dover versus St. George's. This was a low-scoring game in 10-14 win for St. George's. This was a defensive game. Dover did start the game off with 2 touchdowns, going up 10-0, and then second half, St. George just turned it up a notch and scored. As Joel Bucked, he ran the ball really well, as he had a 2-yard rushing touchdown, and then Malachi Smith had a 71-yard fumble recovery touchdown to give them the lead and to win the game. And then Dover, Yarborough had a 43-yard pass from Sterling, and Yonder kicked a 32-yard field goal. It's not much. This Dover game, it was just, it was a good. The defense played well. They played well. They stopped the run, stopped the pass, all that good stuff. They just couldn't get it done. They lost off a short yardage touchdown and a fumble recovery touchdown that the offense lost the ball and defense went all running. Their next 3 games is not going to treat them right, though. Cape Henlopen and Smyrna. Caesarani is winnable. I will say that. I think they can beat Caesarani. But it looks like Dover might have one of their worst records in a while, as they might be ending this season off 2-8. They got to play Cape at Dover, then play Smyrna down in Smyrna. That's not going to be a good one. And Caesarani, which it's supposed to be close, but I think Dover's going to barely pull that one off. All in all, this Dover team haven't been that great. I was not surprised that they haven't been great. Ever since West Catholic, I knew they wasn't going to do that well, as they got beat by Appo. They got blown out by Lake Forest. I was shocked. I thought it was going to be a close game. Lake Forest is a top 5, if not a top 6 team in 2A. Then they lost to Caravel, no surprise. Lost to William Penn in the blowout, kind of surprising. Lost to Central, and now losing to St. George's. And they're sitting at 1-6. Looking like one of the worst teams in 3A right now. That is not set up for success, and this Dover high school team needs to get it together. That's all I got to say. And then the last game we're going to talk about is Newark versus Concord High School. Yes, the Week 7 matchup, the last matchup I'm going to be talking about, Newark versus Concord High School. In this game, it was a good defensive game. Good defensive game for Newark. We already talked about them. They're 5-2 on the year. Concord, no longer 6-0, now 6-1. Newark's last 3 games, it's going to be Conrad senior night. That's going to be a really good one. It's going to be Saturday, 11 a.m. Then they play 2 more Saturday games going against Glasgow and Christiana, 2 teams that are in their district. And those are going to be 2 rivalry games for them, as they play Glasgow in their homecoming and Christiana on Christiana senior night. All in all, though, Newark High School looked really good. Samir Coleman, Saquon Robinson, they've been really good players, and William Till, all key contributors to this team. Kyan Black, multiple guys that are really good. And Concord, they have some really good talent too. Could have had some better talent, but lost them because they reclassed up and now is playing at Rutgers. But all in all, though, this Concord team still been really good even without him. Concord, there's still a lot to look for. They could probably go 9-1, like I said before earlier. And for Newark, they can probably end this year off 7-3 or 8-2. As those are 2 teams that we're going to definitely see in the state semifinals in the last period of the season. But with that being said, y'all, thank you guys for enjoying this video. I know this is the recap of Week 6 and Week 7. And sorry for missing out on last week's video. But it is fine. We are back. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And don't forget to follow my Instagram page at AT's Barstool. Link will be in the bio. And with that being said, y'all, thank you guys for enjoying. Hopefully, y'all have a blessed Monday and have a blessed rest of the week, as we will see y'all next week. Peace.